April 2024 marks a significant milestone as South Africa celebrates 30 years of democracy and the Gauteng Provincial Legislature's existence. In 1994, legislatures were established to make laws for provinces and hold provincial governments accountable for service delivery and the use of public funds. Committees of the legislature consider laws, monitor the work of provincial government departments, and make recommendations about the work of departments, including their structure, functioning, and policies. Meet the chairpersons.
Honorable Vuyiswa Jentile, Chairperson of the Petitions Standing Committee, thank you for making time to speak to us. Let's begin our discussion by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I guess you know my name by now, but I'm Vuyiswa Jentile. I am the chairperson of the Standing Committee of Petitions. I am originally from Sedibeng, which is the southern corridor of Gauteng. I'm a former student activist, youth activist, but yeah, I'm now at the GPL.
Thank you for that. And talk to us about your primary objectives as chairperson of your committee, and how you ensure that the department or office that you oversee is accountable.
Thank you so much, and thanks so much for the invite. I think it's very important that we must speak first to the objectives, one of the committee, which will then translate to the objectives of myself as a chairperson, that our work is to first assess the petitions submitted to ourselves, but also to engage with them and to qualify if indeed they do meet the criteria to be considered as a petition. And then from there, we'll then adopt, and then we would identify a particular department if it is a provincial petition. And if it is a municipal petition, we'll identify a particular municipality that will then refer the petition to those particular identified departments. But central to it is the, gauging of what is submitted and translated to service delivery as part of the referral to departments. And I think part of the work that we think is in the main and objective for us is every petition that is sent to a department, it is received timely, and that there is a response thereof that we would wish translate to a service delivery. Because a frustration of a petitioner is that you would have gone everywhere, you would have exhausted every avenue, and you then come to us as a petition seeking a resolve. And our obsession is that indeed when we assist you, it does translate to a service delivery. So that is our main objective as the committee and myself as the chair.
Are we experiencing a flood of petitions, you'd say?
We do, but of course, there is still more work that needs to be done in some corridors of the province. There is more petitions we are receiving from Ekurhuleni. We're sensing that there is more understanding of the petitioning process. We're receiving a few from Tshwane and City of Johannesburg, quite one or two from Sedibeng from time to time. But we do receive, in the past, we've had a backlog. And I think in the 6th administration, there was a backlog and there was a way to deal with these particular, processing of petitions. But I think center to the submission and the backlog is that we can process at the level of the legislature, but you then still fit with a backlog at the level of the department or at the level of the municipality to which you would have referred. But there is then a process of introducing a new act. There's an amendment bill that we're working on that will also assist us in terms of facilitating with timeframes some of these petitions that we then refer to departments.
And talk to us about how you ensure that public funds are managed effectively, and that the funds are actually used to deliver quality services to residents of Gauteng.
All right. So in our community, I do not think that it's much relevant and it applies. But I think it's important that you remember we're a standing committee, not a portfolio a committee. But I think it's important that where there are gaps and there's a submission in terms of the petition, that speaks maybe to the submission, or rather someone who says, look, I've been observing this particular trend and I think I want to submit, to then sensitize the department and other portfolio committees to look into the matter. But it really does not apply to us as a committee. Ours is to be a barometer to service delivery and just holding government into account and ensuring that the frustration of citizens is then translated to service delivery.
And you were talking just a few moments ago about the amendment bill in terms of petitions. Are you able to talk to us about maybe some of the key points in it, the key features that are being amended?
Okay. So I think the main feature, right, for us is, you have a lot of petitions that you receive that are more municipal, Section 79. But people, because of frustration, they do not have confidence in some of these municipalities, they would then send it straight. But the bill itself speaks to what the municipality can do and what is it that we can do in terms of the processing, right? But also, very importantly, it speaks of timeframes in terms of the processing of the petition, the process itself of petition. But in the main, it is just to also allow us to do more work in terms of holding executive accountable in terms of the petitions that are submitted.
Is it cynical to say that because there's a flood of petitions, it shows that people still have faith in democracy?
True, it is. But I think we need to do more education. And I think in this amendment bill, there is more education that needs to go to our people in terms of reminding them, what is the role of legislature? What is the role of government? What is then the role of society in general in relation to raising these issues? This is what this bill seeks to do. It seeks to clarify what are the rights of our people in relation to coming up and saying it's not normal to just have a pothole. It's not normal to have an unfinished school, and that they must be able then to raise. So it empowers our people. In the main, it's not just for us as a committee, it is to empower people to be able to, if they have lost any confidence in democracy, to say that petitions as a committee basically our only hope in terms of a resolve to some of the challenges that we have in the province.
And just how far along is the bill now?
All right. So we have, I think we're at its final stages, and I'm excited because we have published, it was published in the Gazette early this year. I think it was around April. And we are currently, in the planning stages of do public hearings in terms of. So we're almost at the last stages of the bill itself, and very soon we will then be using it as an act to continue the work that we're doing.
The Premier State of the Province address on the 15th of August 2024, there were various commitments that were made regarding service delivery programs. What is your perspective on the oversight role of your committee, particularly in relation to your portfolio?
So obviously, we are a barometer to service delivery. And we're happy that the Premier is making pronouncements in terms of service delivery moving forward. But there's a challenge currently that we're sitting with, even with what we have in departments, for example, a backlog in household, right? It's a challenge of unfinished projects. And what we'll continue to do with, to do as a committee is to encourage citizens of this province to petition against all, service delivery issues that do not translate to what would have been promised by the Premier. So that is what we are here for as a committee, to say over and above these pronouncements, over and above these promises, where there are gaps in terms of what would have been promised before, and there is a need to raise their voice. We are, the committee that is ready to listen and also, mediate between the petitioner and the executive, to also hold the executive accountable in relation to what is submitted to us. So if citizens don't petitions, if citizens don't petition, we sit. And we assume all is fine. I will pass a school because I'm a chair. At some point, there are limitations in terms of what I can submit that has been sitting there unfinished for years, and nothing is going to happen. So we just want to really, really encourage our people that beyond the commitment of service delivery, where there are shortfalls in terms of these issues that I raised, they must be able to come to the Petitions Committee, and then we can mediate between themselves and the executive.
Talk to us about the importance, in terms of collaborating with other, committee members, and how you plan to ensure that, the department you oversee, or the committee that you oversee rather, meets its performance targets and addresses the needs of the community.
So we're lucky because, ours cuts across all departments. We do not have one dedicated department that we really work with. And we are lucky also because there's a resolution that has been taken. So there's much work done in terms of progressing some of the work that is happening with petitions. That there is a standing agenda item in all portfolio committees that when we refer a petition maybe to the Department of Health, the portfolio also, will then receive so that they are able to make a follow-up. But we do this to track, but also to monitor and to also encourage collaborations, because I can then meet chair and say, but chair, look, man, this is what we would have submitted, what are your views? And perhaps the portfolio even has, is empowered better in terms of the information that will be not empowered. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond just the submission of the cross-referral, and this being a standard item. It must get to a point where we encourage all portfolio chairs to attend petition committee meetings, such that if there's any issue, they are able to readily get information available, and then we share notes, and we are able to, track, as I would have said, but also monitor, engage where we are. And we're not surprised come end of the quarter that there isn't much work done in relation to what would have been submitted.
And in appreciating that, public engagement is the cornerstone of, the legislature's work, is it fair to say that you actually are the cornerstone?
Not true. We are. As you may know, we have recently introduced the e-petitions as a form. Because, we are also moving towards my attention. Yes. We've introduced to encourage our people to come. We know that there's people that are submitting physically, but at the center of the processing of petitions is the hearings. And for us, that is where we gauge our public participation, where, we take services of petitions, we take, the committee to the people, and we can feel the frustration over and above what is written on paper and what is submitted to us through an e-petition. So we are the cornerstone in terms of the participation, and we'll be going more to the public because of the amendment bill, because of the recently introduced e-petitions system of filing or rather submitting a petition. But overall for us, it is to also educate our people, as I would have indicated at the beginning of the interview, that there are still corridors, regions in Gauteng that we sense do not have an understanding of what is the petitions process. Perhaps some have lost hope, as you would have indicated, but also to just encourage them as a form to say, look, we're here now, and this is the commitment that we're bringing to ourselves as people in terms of mediating between yourselves and, government and executive in this case.
And we cannot emphasize enough that, the public, members of the public, citizens of Gauteng must attend these public hearings to give their input to, the bill where it sits now.
True.
Are there any significant challenges that you want to share with us that are faced by, your committee?
So, of course, I think that a major challenge that I would have spoken to is the fact that you would have the same corridors or districts, municipalities that are submitting, and then you then ask yourself if these other ones, do they lack knowledge or have they lost hope in the process? So that is a major challenge for us, and I think a solution is the issue of the public participation. We, as a committee, wish to go more out and speak to this issue. And previously, there would have been a challenge of backlog. There was a huge number of petitions that were coming in, and these petitions, would not be, processed timely because there are issues of capacity and. But a major one for me, which I think is a challenge, is when a petitioner, after exhausting every corner, comes, the hope would be a petition translates to service delivery. And a lot of time it does not.
Why is that?
So a challenge, for an example, is that we're sitting with a challenge on a backlog on housing. And I think this is a major one because 70% of the petitions that we receive are human settlements. Someone petitions and says, look, I have applied for a house at this particular time and I am part of this category. And sometimes the department, in terms of the projects that are underway, has no capacity to readily accommodate you, but they would respond and say, look, we will then put you as part of the list. And the list is quite very long, and it can be very frustrating. You can sit with a resolved a petition in 2017, and there's still no allocation now, and it can cause a lot of frustration. But we're looking into ways of meeting with the department and see what better ways can we improve in terms of allocation. I know that the department is working, so much, in terms of working around this, but it's sometimes not enough. The immigration coming to the province is over 300 a year, and each and every one of us need housing. So it is a serious challenge, and it has a potential in the future if we do not come up with a plan to undermine the work that the petitioners continue doing.
It would seem just like another futile process.
Of course.
In conclusion, what legacy would you like to leave as chairperson of your committee in terms of improving accountability and governance and improving the lives of the people, essentially, the people of Gauteng?
So mainly the petition wants to deal with, service delivery, where there is no hope, we are the cornerstone of hope. And for me, it is to just unlock, opportunities for petitioners where they view this as, the last resort and a solution to their problems. I think that is the legacy that I would want to leave, a happy face to our people in relation to a cry. You meet petitioners who are saying, I'm on the 1996, 1999 list, old, and their wishes to say, and you see, it's a very, sensitive wish. I just want to die in my house. And we just want to put the smile in the lives of people on Gauteng. It's going to be a very difficult task, but it's a task that we are willing to work on up until we then get it right.
Honorable Vuyiswa Jentile, I believe your legacy will be realized once the public participation is concluded. And I wish you all the best with that. And thank you for chatting to us.
Thank you so much. And thanks for inviting me.
It's a pleasure.